we really get along, and I think we actually entertain while we're teaching. So that's something
funny,
very.
Or I'm funny.
She thinks she's funny. So please, if you take our class in the future, laugh at her jokes.
Laughed.
Just laugh.
Laugh at her jokes.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Ride the Rebellion podcast. It's me, Drew.
Michael Buffer.
Michael. And today, as always, I am joined by the king of the South Alabama Turndown, Harry's Potter himself, Dale Boyd.
Wow. Well, how did I get the Harry Potter connotation?
Harry's Potter.
Well, Harry's Potter, whatever. I'm not that into that. Not into that life.
Not into that life?
No.
Well, we've got two awesome guests, and there's a little bit of anticipation about why. Long story short, I don't know if we're even going to talk. Yeah, see?
I see what you did there.
My kids were watching that, and I was a little disturbed, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about that and why there's a little gag there, because things happen. Maybe not. We don't know. She already cheated. There we go. As always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors first. Today, I'm actually even drinking I don't know if you noticed, but on the counter there was 2 bags of Lucky Shot coffee, who's one of our premier sponsors.
I can smell it.
And that's what I'm drinking.
And that's
Lucky Shot coffee. We're drinking Girls Ride Better or something. Girls do it better. Or girls are better. Something about women being better, which is fact anyway.
It's women's power, isn't it? Which leads me to
it's women's power.
It's women's power. I don't care. She donates money back to it's all women's beans. So she uses beans from women's farms that
that's
are all
what this
female
is,
owned.
that's what
Everything's female owned from the beginning to the end.
It's a female owned cup from beginning in a gay pride cup.
And since you own it, it's female consumed.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I have no objections to that.
Oh, man. It's 2022. You can be whoever you want to be.
Facts. All right. So then our other sponsors in the room, let's pretend like they're not. Let's see how it goes. Let's make them feel awkward.
All right.
So shout out to our other sponsor, Dirt Coaster Academy. If you suck at riding bikes, if you've never ridden a bike, if you've ever even thought about a bike or a tricycle,
or if you think you're sweet on a bike.
Oh, there you go. Take them back down.
Yes.
Then you should head over to dirtcoasteracademy.com, find out where they're having a class, and go take a class, and then come back and be on the show.
That's right.
Anybody that takes a class from there has an option to be on the show.
We are on a Dirt Coaster Academy streak right now.
I know everyone.
Everyone
we've had has been on Dirt has taken the class.
That's right.
They're sitting right here. We're just trying to make it as hard. So I'm not even. That's the sponsor side of things. That's how we do it. You guys know that. But this is not a paid advertisement.
No.
We tried to have them on beforehand.
Maybe we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
We can get into that.
We had too much fun.
Yeah, that's a good story.
So we'll get to that. But we tried to have them on beforehand. And now what we're saying is this is not like, if this were a YouTube video, I don't have to put paid sponsor on the top. I do, but I don't. You know what I mean?
We should blow this podcast out and start a live feed.
I thought about it.
I'm so sexy. You know how many people be watching?
It's so sketchy. I was about to set up all the cameras. It was going to be just Sketch City.
I would be jealous then, because you are sexy.
Oh, thank you.
There he is. All right. So
sorry, Casey.
We've heard 2 different voices, but we haven't trashed her yet, so we're still good. We're going to go ahead and introduce. So we're going to start awkward introductions. That's our favorite thing to do here. So awkward introductions. Oh, you've been nominated.
Nina.
A little more.
So tell us about yourself, Nina. Just a small thing. Like, hi, and go for it.
Hi, I'm Nina. I am one of the instructors at Dirt Coaster Academy. Been riding for, I don't know, like 12, 15 years, somewhere in that range. I'm not going to say any more than that. And absolutely love what I do. Love to get even people, like you were saying, even people that think they know what they're doing. I like to get everyone out to take some lessons. So you can always get better, right? Always go up.
100%.
Oh, and Toby Cortez, I'm part owner of Dirk Coaster Academy with Nina, and we both have kind of migrated over from just doing something local to doing something all over the southeastern United States and teaching lessons all over, and it's really been quite an enjoyable ride to see so many people progress so much. So it's been fun.
I'm just going to interrupt real quick. Toby, could you say for me, just very dramatic, just go like this, in a world. You have like the greatest trailer voice. You could have a secondary career. Have you done radio?
I have not done radio, so but I could do the Cajun voice, but I don't know if I could do in a world where
You're pretty close. It's good.
if you don't come.
Yeah, that's it. All right, so we'll start with kind of the general question. You said you've been riding for 15 years. Mm-hmm. So what was it that connected you? Because we were kind of talking about Joe Rogan moment. We were talking about it at lunch as we were kind of talking about. But what connected you? What got you into riding? Why did you start riding?
Ooh, that's a good one, and hopefully you men won't take any pause to this. But I started riding. I wanted to buy a Walmart bike a long time ago, and I was convinced, Nina, you can't go buy a Walmart bike. You have to get like a real bike. And I was like, why? I just want to ride it around my neighborhood. So I was convinced to go buy a Trek, the beginner basic Trek, and went out on our local trails. I'm from Georgia, and I went out there and I got my butt handed to me. I don't know how to say that, but by like at the time I was in my 20s, so it was like 70-year-old men flying by me, and I thought I was really fit until that happened, and I was walking up hills. I was pretty much dying, and so I think my type A personality, it got to me, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I went out there, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Blankets Creek. I went out there 5 days a week until I could bike up every hill. And that's what got me started.
Oh, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. What about you, Toby? You got a little skin in the game.
So it goes back to the old mongoose. Back when I was a kid, me and my brother had a red one and a blue one. We thought we were the coolest. But I've been riding bikes for 30 plus years, and just every type of ride that's out there. Pretty much started with the BMX and went into the mountain biking, did road biking, did cross, then went to downhill and cross country, and kind of did it all. And just absolutely love bicycles, and it's an amazing sport that I'm hoping to do in my 80s. So that's the goal. That's
awesome.
You'll be one of those guys.
I think
you're going to be one of those guys that passes up the girl on the hill.
But he's going to end up with like one of those Shimano videos about him being 80 years old.
Right?
It's going to be this epic thing, and you're still riding some bike from, you're going to be like Jakey Poo riding a tricycle from the...
He's just because he is not big enough to ride one of our...
We have a guy that just will not move on. He's with this one bike.
It's a 26er. His bike's legit. It has Chris King everything. It's an intense 26.
Well, have bikes.
That's what I started on, the 26 inch.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. It's like you started on the 26. He's still on it because he likes being nimble, and he's cheap. I think he's just cheap. But I mean, you guys have both seen that progression.
Oh my gosh! It's been quite amazing, the progression in the technology that goes into mountain bikes, from the suspension to the wheel size, and especially the geometry. The geometry is really what blows kind of my mind, because you get the best.
Easy for you to say.
You get the best of both worlds, and it's really been amazing.
So I started out on the 26, and I remember going up those hills that I was talking about over the roots with the 26. I was like, oh gosh. And when you move over to 29, so much better.
It's like night and day.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
And so you get people at our classes that when COVID hit, they literally took their bikes out of the attic. And so some of these bikes were 26-inch wheels, or they were like around town cruisers, and they want a mountain bike on them. And you have to learn how to teach people where they're at. So if that's all you have, then we're going to make it work with what you have. Now, we will show you that there are better versions out there, obviously, right? There's a reason why things have progressed. But yeah, starting out on those 26-inch wheels was tough. And flat pedals. I hate flat pedals. I'm sorry.
I have a
We got a couple. I think I'm the only flat guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a clip-in always for life.
Yep.
So we are in this room. Obviously, mountain biking is part of our lives, if not our lives in general. We're all very passionate about it. It's really difficult to explain to, like, I'm coaching baseball with guys, and they're like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to ride my bike," and like they just stare at you, like it's not even real. And so, what do you guys think leads to, like, what makes it so passionate for us? And it becomes a passion project, obviously, for multiple reasons for both of you as well as us. What do you think leads us to that passion? Like, what drives it?
You want to start?
Oh, sure. So, I always joke. I mean, my favorite two hobbies are mountain biking and climbing. I mean, it's what we did as a kid, and it brings us back to our childhood. And there's something about just riding a bicycle, and a lot of YouTube videos and stuff that I've been kind of looking at, kind of talk about how like the bicycle is the most efficient machine out there. I mean, it was bicycle mechanics who invented the airplane and so many other things. Cars came out of it, but the bicycle's been around for so long. So it's absolutely an amazing thing. So it's fun. It brings us back to our childhood, and I think there's something about being in the woods. I think it brings us back to our roots. I think I read one article probably about 20 years ago about how, running through the woods was something that we actually had to do. It was primal to catch our food.
100%.
So being on a bike and seeing the trees go by, I think it brings us back to our roots.
I was going to say, where did you grow up? Were you running through the woods?
I grew up in the backwoods.
Apparently.
Did you grow up in Louisiana?
So I did. I grew up in a town called Reserve, Louisiana.
Where is that in terms of flatness of the state?
Very flat.
Yeah.
Very flat. So my two hobbies that I love, mountain biking and climbing, was a lot of traveling.
Yeah,
lot of
so I think
traveling.
it's interesting. Out of the four of us in this room, you're the only one that grew up with natural elevation,
right?
Accessible. We should call it accessible elevation, right? We're accessibly elevation challenged down there on the coast. So the fact is, you had that. I think it's fascinating that. I think it's weird and fascinating that people learn and love to ride a bike when they only had something flat, and then they want to do something where they want to go down hills and do all that kind of stuff. And then I meet a lot of people that ride. They grew up in elevation areas and they transition to road biking and they still get climbs, but they're not looking for the gnarly stuff. They're not looking for that. It's just a fascinating sort of mix of individuals that make up the cycling community.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll have to say though, moving here from Georgia, I did get a road bike so that I could get some endurance activity going. And I didn't realize that wind was a thing. So from Georgia, we have mountains that like kind of block some of that, right? And so I got on the road bike, and basically the guys who've been riding flat are like, "Keep up with me."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. So wind is an absolute a beast.
It's interesting though, because I didn't understand it either, and I went with a friend who's dual, and we rode, and he lived in South Dakota. And there's nothing, not on the Wyoming side. He's on the Sioux Falls side. It's flat.
Right.
And the wind, we rode a night ride through a park. It was a really nice, great. It was a 20-mile like green trip. And the wind killed us. I mean, it was so bad. And so the next night we rode, and the wind had shifted positions, and you could feel like it's just the sound changes from the wind being in your ears to suddenly like it's behind you. It feels different. It's a really weird experience that we don't always get on mountain biking.
No, you don't. You definitely don't.
Do you guys advocate? A lot of times we talk a lot of shit on this podcast about spandex, and normally we're talking about XC if we're being candid. That's us being jerks. But the reality of it is, do you guys when you start talking to someone who might come along for private coaching, and we'll get to the whole piece here.
Sure.
But do you ever talk to them about like endurance? I mean, if you look at the pros, even the downhill guys and gals are riding, they road bike for.
Right. Yep. And I ride in spandex. I think that's one of the things that people made fun of me as a women biker, that you see so many women mountain bikers in like the baggier shorts and like the baggier tops. And this is not a plug for Lululemon, but I love Lululemon. And
not a
I
sponsor.
will not
They
sponsored.
were though.
We
They make men's clothes now.
They do.
Right. And so but I love it. And then also buying kits and things like that for racing, it does make you faster. And it's easier to ride.
I will
with them.
argue with the faster thing. I beat like tons of people in spandex.
Well, you're just a beast. That's why.
So
He just pedals through them.
So it's
I lined up against people and I see them all kitted out and I start shaking like, oh my, I'm about to get my ass kicked.
They're real. That's what you
They're
think.
real.
It's like
Yeah,
they're
you
real.
think,
They
like
know what
they're
they're doing.
like my first two races, I was like, what am I doing here? Like I got baggy cargo shorts on. Like,
Right?
I don't know what I'm doing. The first race I had flat pedals, like cargo shorts. And I just remember the last time I saw them was when I took off. I'm like,
That's funny.
Well, that was cool. Nice kit.
Yeah.
See you at the end.
So I probably actually wear spandex more than I wear the baggy stuff, but it's usually in a training room on my trainer or on my road bike. I tried to be a little bit committed this year to enduro racing, and people think you're going downhill. So what do you need to be fit for? But you're actually pedaling the entire time you're going downhill, and it's very taxing. So, fitness is absolutely key. And Nina is if you follow her on Strava, you'll see that she is a badass trainer. She's very, very dedicated. She does that all the time, and it's very inspiring to a lot of people, including myself, to try to get more fit. Because, I love to do the crazy stuff. And if I'm more fit and to get to that crazy stuff, I enjoy it more. So I think the spandex side of mountain biking is cool. And everybody kind of has their place.
That's right.
It's more stylish not to wear that stuff out in the mountain bike, and it's a little bit more convenient. I can go straight from the trail to the restaurant if I'm wearing baggies.
That's right.
And
since day one, I've harped on people about it, just teasing them. So now I have that MO, and I can't let it go. Now it's just
I don't wear
stigma.
chamois anymore unless I'm road biking. I don't need them anymore. I don't
mountain biking. I don't wear them either.
Right. I don't need them. But when I'm on a road bike, you better believe I've got them. That's a legit
I learned
thing.
that quick.
And so it's one of those things too. I thought I needed them early on, and when I first got them, and this is not gross by any means, it's stupid. I actually had underwear and chamois on at the same time.
Oh, man.
And that is the worst thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Tain't easy.
Absolutely.
Like
That's
that.
pretty good.
No, it was one of those things. But it's, we joke about it, but at the end of the day, I road bike. I still, not as much now. It's too hot for me. And we have the Reb, and that gives me the workout I'm after. But for us, I think it's important. And often we've talked about it. One of our first episodes was talking about fitness. Mm-hmm. And we were jokingly saying fitness pizza in your mouth. But the reality is, it's important if you want to have more fun. The truth is, I want to have more fun, and I want to live longer having fun.
Yeah.
So it's
So
not just
we've
for drinking
taken
beer.
this whole let's get fit, just like Toby. We could have just bought an e-bike.
Oh no!
Don't
get me started on that.
Oh wait, we got some e-bikes.
So we have a friendly dispute at Dirk Coaster
Y'all
Academy.
seen the meme, right? Of the girls would be like, "Oh, look at him! Oh, he's got an e-bike. Never mind." Right?
yeah.
Y'all seen that?
But
Right?
she keeps on riding her Amish bike, and it's okay to stay in the past.
Hey, I've ridden them though. I think they're awesome.
You cannot not smile.
No, right.
If you aren't an e-bike.
That's right.
And they absolutely have their place. A good buddy of mine came off his motorcycle plus triple digits and messed up his knee, and he would not be
That's
riding
true.
today.
Yeah,
if,
there's guys that ride with us that same way.
Yeah. So, and look, I'm very, very fortunate. I have a bunch of bikes, not as many as my wife thinks I have a little bit less, but I don't know. Sorry if you're listening, but so
My
one
wife
of
thinks
those,
mine are $5.
one of those bikes is an e-bike, and I absolutely love it. And there's
As long
some.
as you don't put it on Strava, okay? Because the worst is the people
agree.
that beat you at Queen of the Mountain because they were riding the e-bike. There's not many women.
Oh, so I had to
e-bikers.
kill my Strava for that reason. It drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Because he was taking all the queens of the mountain.
So actually, in Georgia, there was a guy on an e-bike who did it on the women's Queen of the Mountain. I was like, man, I would
Oh,
just,
wow.
Yeah,
there's
that's
no way to
bad.
block it. Like you can't
flag it.
That's a super troll though.
Isn't
Yeah,
that bad?
That's
absolutely.
straight
Oh,
super
my
So
trolling.
frustrating. Still on there.
And his
Makes me
name
so mad.
was. Oh, we won't even.
No.
I could've made
Yeah,
a
I know,
political
right?
joke.
I can pull it up real quick. No, I'm just kidding.
Can one of y'all reach and open the door now that they're gone so we can get some freaking more air in? Good God, this wooden box that we're in is just toasty. So let's talk a little bit about. So we've literally had 3. Well, I guess Dale, but we've had 3 in a row talk about when we jokingly said, okay, we're going to let them sponsor because we sponsor with our friends, right? With people that we believe in, and it does matter. The stuff that we don't put anything on that we don't believe in, and so we jokingly said it, and then every time we brought it up, somebody would be sitting in here and they'd be like, no, I've done it. It was fantastic, and I got better for it. And every single person's gone through this. Can you guys, now you can use your planned statements.
Thanks. The ones I've been rehearsing in my head.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I didn't want to shortchange you on those.
Thank you.
But let's legitimately, what is Dirt Coaster Academy?
So we are an academy for beginners and for people who have been riding 40 years. I mean, we've had some people that have been riding that long. We teach the basics, the fundamentals, is what our beginner class is called, all the way up into jumping and drops. And we're adding some new classes coming up soon. We're trying to figure out our naming convention on those. But ideally what we want people to go out there and do take lessons and do things in a progression, right? We want you to learn the basic fundamentals, bike body separation, moving around your bike, etc., and how to handle your bike and where the most stable position is on your bike, and move that all the way up into having a little bit more fun and doing some drops and jumps. You don't have to do any of the more advanced things, but I think that it's always nice for me specifically, right? If you're out on a trail and something comes up, you now know how to handle that. Yeah. So a lot of times, especially for our women's classes, I have women that don't want to take the class because they're just they don't want to jump or they don't want to do this. And giving them that confidence that, hey, if this pops up, you know what to do now, I think is really key.
Absolutely. Dirt Coaster, we kind of say we progress you to your next level.
Right.
So wherever you are, we want to progress to the next level. And it's so awesome to see someone who really has no riding background, doesn't understand what a mountain bike is, and just have an aha moment of getting comfortable on the bike. And it all begins with your body. You weigh a lot more than your bike, so your body influences it, and that's the most important thing. So Nina and I teach where you're supposed to put your body, and it creates that stability. What's really, really cool, we've talked a little bit earlier about how much mountain biking, the technology in the bike has progressed. And it blows people's minds, people who've been out of it for 10 years and they get back on a bike and
That's what happened to me.
wait a minute.
I was out for almost 20 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we get that same effect whenever somebody who's been riding a while and they come back to the class and they're all naysayers.Ey're like, I don't need that. I've been doing all of this. I'm the turn down champion and I got a belt. And then they come in.
Wow, come on.
Wait. Keep your thought going. This sounds like true story happening right here.
It was.
You rolled up to his academy and you're like, I got the belt, bitch.
No, it was the
He
day
never
before.
It was the day before.
I got the belt the day before.
That's true.
But the point is that the technology in the bikes have come so far.
Right.
The technology in teaching and the teaching methods have come so far. It just absolutely blows my mind.
So if you had to adapt, so let me ask this. So it's two-parter. So one part is, has riding fundamentals changed much with the technology is question one.
Yes.
And two, okay. So to that, then did you guys have to adjust your teaching to the technology? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Is it corresponding that way?
Both of them evolve.
Right.
Yeah. So the dropper post is huge.
Right.
Not a plug, but we have a shirt that says "Drop it like it's hot."
Right.
Right. So the dropper post is probably the biggest advancement. Right. 29-inch wheels, things of that nature. But being able to get your body separate from the bike, where it used to be, where you were kind of like attached to your bike. Right. Your seat was up, and you were leaning with the bike versus letting the bike lean underneath you. That's probably the biggest thing that I can think of that we have to teach people just to not be attached to their bike. Like you're such an influence on your bike that you need to have the stability on top of the bike and not let the bike move you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we first learned to downhill years ago, we had a big seat, and the reason why a lot of people wore spandex is because they can move around their seat because they wouldn't get the baggies to get caught on. So now that we can get that seat out of the way,
You can wear your baggies again.
You can be fashionable.
you can be fashionable. Not only that,
Jinkos for the win.
That's right.
but you definitely can put your body in the absolute correct position.
Right.
And so it is a prerequisite whenever you come to Dirt Coaster Academy. We got to get your seat out of the way. We can't teach you how to ride a modern mountain bike without teaching you how to get the seat out of the way and get around that.
So is some of it, what if they don't have a dropper? Do you guys just pull the seat or push it down?
We do. I'm like the collector of saddles. Yes. So I will take your seat and we ask your permission, obviously, right? Do you feel comfortable? And we make sure that they feel comfortable before we take it. And then move it off to the side, and pretty much the entire class is without a seat. And it's not to be difficult or to make them feel uncomfortable. It's really for them to get it in their head that they don't need the seat there, because it's almost like a security blanket, right?
Right.
They feel like, especially when you're going downhill. I mean, I used to do it. You kind of like put your knees in and hold on to the saddle. And so that you can feel what's happening underneath you. Whereas the reverse nowadays, you drop your seat and you want the bike to move underneath you, so that if you hit a big root or a rock or whatever, if the bike jars to the left or right now you're going to let the bike jar to the left or right and you stay center. So we have to teach that in a controlled environment as much as we can.
But in some cases too, it's not just the technology that's changed. We talk about this a lot at the Reb stuff, is that, we're hand cut trails. You guys have ridden it and you've experienced some of it. So that's all hand cut. There's no machine. We're going to get there. There's no machine. She's raising her hand. We'll get there. But there's no machine cut stuff. Like, and we're braggadocious a-holes, the two of us, that literally won't even use a chainsaw. So it's all hand cut.
It's awesome.
So they're kind of flowy in spots and rough in other spots. But I imagine if you've been riding as long as you guys have, the evolution of trailcraft has changed over time, has it not?
Oh my gosh! So what's really, really funny is that it's coming back full circle. I mean, Bentonville is probably the king of the machine built trails, and one of the last trails that they built was called Hand Cut Hollow, and so they want to get back to that hand cut feel. They're not better. One's not better than the other, but why not have two beautiful things in mountain biking? And flow trails and hand cut stuff is just absolutely amazing. And you're seeing a lot of bike parks. They have both of them. Jared's, the recent one that opened, all the top of it is kind of gnar, hand cut stuff, off camber, and then the bottom is this beautiful machine cut.
And on how to ride both of them, right? So talking about that bike body separation, if you're going into some of those hand cut, more gnarly trails, that bike body separation is more important.
That's where I was kind of going to. Is it seems like now, like, so then you have to learn to adjust, and it's not like this sounds, again, because you guys are a sponsor, it sounds like pedaling, but it makes sense. Pedaling.
That was perfect.
I'm a dad. I got to work them in. I only have a quota
Dad
of 5.
jokes.
But like, it seems like you would need to know these things, and you would. So for us, the only thing I know is when I go ride Chattanooga, which is my favorite place to ride, I experience different stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's a challenge. I got to rewrite that again because I wrote it very poorly. So I'm self-taught. So I'm not taking bike body separation information into my brain when I'm doing it. So it's self-taught stuff. But if I had that platform to work off of, I could say, okay, on this rough terrain, I can adapt myself to. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? So that's where I think in the case of what you guys are doing, it's fascinating. Did knowing that help with Bogchito when you went down that path?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, knowing, so whenever Nina really helped out a lot in developing Bogachita, and there's been an army of people that developed Bogachita, and the whole mindset behind that was we wanted something for everybody.
Right.
And I literally see a 2-year-old riding Bogachita, and I saw an 80-year-old riding Bogachita, and was just smiling from ear to ear.
He was flying up the hills.
And flying up the hills. He was very athletic.
He's probably one of those guys that beat you back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was the guy.
He
Right?
was the guy.
It's been about
He's
10
just
years,
taunting
right?
you
He's
now
just-
everywhere you go.
That's right.
But that's what's so beautiful about mountain biking is that you can have that variety in the same location, and that's what we tried to do at Bogachita.
Did having that place and having that did that help you when you think about coaching? Does that help you? Like, you ride something, you make, I made an adjustment, maybe I'm going to make an adjustment. And so what I'm saying is you're constantly updating your curriculum based on the fact that you're riding. You're active riders. You're racing. You're would be.
I would be racing.
And she has raced.
You will
and
be
she
racing.
won this year.
I would be racing.
Would be
Yeah,
racing.
but
We'll
she
talk
has.
about that. Yeah.
We keep postponing it.
No, we'll
We
just
should
put it
probably
on
talk
screen.
about
really
it.
not.
It's like the
Ultimate fish
elephant
hook.
in the room, right?
It's a fish hook. It's just a big fish hook.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Some of the things at Bogachita that we're adding and that we have to adjust to as well is that, like the rock gardens, or, do you go rock gardens, or do you do more cross country, or how do the trails progress as well? And then how do we teach people how to do those things? Right.
Right.
A lot of Bogachita has a lot of cross country, and there's some places, that we go, because we travel all over, that have a lot more technical terrain. And we want to be able to teach people that. So how do we incorporate that into the trails at home so that we can teach that instead of making them drive hours and hours?
So you guys, since we got the Bogachita, we can ask this question just for our people, because we're dealing with a similar situation locally, with the park being closed for renovations or things like that. And it's been a long process. Could you explain to the listeners that it doesn't happen overnight, please? From the mouths of somebody that's done it, because my words don't matter anymore.
So the first thing that Dirk Coaster Academy is we're two lovers of mountain biking, and we want to keep on promoting the sport. And if we didn't have that passion and we didn't love it, we would have tapped out quite some time ago, because it is very, very trying to accomplish and to bring progression, especially to an area that really is not as familiar with mountain biking. And I've all night last night and on the phone this morning, they're trying to develop another area in Louisiana, and they're not following the exact steps. And so you really have to be very meticulous, very, very professional. And you have to have patience, because it does not happen overnight. I think Bogachita was a little bit of an anomaly. Kind of everything came together at the right time, and it happened a lot faster.
But
Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, but to your point is, yes, patience is key, but also for those people that come to ride the trails is understanding that there's so much work that goes into it that complaining about it just makes it more difficult, right? Like, so for example, Bogachita has a lot of sand. We didn't invent the sand. The sand, we try to plan around the sand, but we're trying to figure that part out, and we're working very diligently and hard to try to make those things easier to ride through, I guess would be right. But to know that there's tons of people that donate, volunteer lots of hours to make that happen, it just doesn't happen immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we run into this too locally, where it's like we're trying to make a 9-mile trail section appease 200 people right now.
Right.
Because that's all essentially we have in Mobile, where we used to have a bigger part.
Not the Reb, though.
Not the Reb. No, not the Reb. The public trail stuff.
Yeah.
So like now trying to appease so many people, and now that Bogachita has grown so much, like now you have to appease even more people, right? And you have to like try to appeal to everybody that shows up, and like there's a lot more opinions now, So it's like it is easier for people that are listening to have an opinion if you are a member of something and if you volunteer. Yeah, like if you have a shovel in your hand, I'll probably listen to you.
But the thing about this podcast has shifted, and maybe it's the same parallel like when you started Dirt Coaster, you had ambition. Like it's a business of some capacity. I don't know where you're your end goal, but you started out with an idea, and it's probably changed over time. Not just technique, but I mean like the business model's probably adapted somewhat, or your mentality.
We completely changed. So the way that we got started was Toby asked me to help with a women's ride, and long story short, it didn't work out. We had the women already covered by somebody else, and so then he goes, "Well, let's do some kind of educational thing together, and let's help educate the people here at Bogachita." And from there, we just kind of ran with it. We're like, "Well, I think we should get certified, and I think we should probably, do this more. I think this is going to be a thing. I think people really want to learn about how to mountain bike and how to be safe." And so it progressed from just an idea of helping women ride to something that's way more than what we thought it was going to be at the beginning.
It's we kind of got to pinch ourselves whenever we stop and we think about it. And, we both have 2 A-type personalities. So we're going to take one thing.
That's my sigh. Did you hear it?
We're going to blow up everything that we possibly do. And, 2 weekends ago, we were giving guided tours in Northwest Arkansas. And we a month before that, we taught in Northwest Arkansas. And then we're teaching all over the place. And it's really boiled down to, and it's very simple, is we're just helping people progress on their mountain bikes. And the 2 gentlemen that we took to Northwest Arkansas, they ended up taking probably 12 hours of private lessons with us, and then we took them on a tour.
Wow!
And we're going to have a video come out on our new YouTube channel.
There we go.
That's
shameless? Yeah, shameless. Good. Congratulations. Well done. I got a button over here that makes sense.
Is there a bing?
That's the wrong one. Oh. You guys can't hear it. It did the sad trumpet. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
There it is.
Is that a good one?
I got the clapping.
It's
the clapping.
Woo-hoo.
So, and I'm sitting here and I'm making the video and I'm watching these guys and how well they did and what they've accomplished. And it is really something awesome to see somebody progress. And it just works. You talk about progression of our teaching methods.
Right.
The fundamentals, it all goes back to the fundamentals. And Nina is like the best
picky person? Is that what you're going to say?
That's
I can
exactly.
see it in your face.
Oh, and she's my coach, and I absolutely love. I'm like, Nina, could you take some video of me and tell me what I'm doing wrong?
Right.
And it's because it's usually just the basics. It's usually just
little
adjusting.
tiny things.
Little things make the world of difference. And when we break it down, and if you come through the classes, it's very, very simple, and we make it complicated. And so it's
not us. We make it good. We make it better. So he said people in general make it complicated.
They make it.
You get the sad.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the sound? Turn the sound.
I got it for him. I got him the sad horn for that.
But I got to see it firsthand. Like Cassidy was at the class I was at, and Cassidy had just started biking. Yeah. We have a video where she rode with us and skipped the drop that we all did, and then she came to the class and dominated. Like started out like barely knowing how to turn, and then she was jumping the biggest gap that all the guys were.
Bug didn't like it, but there's a picture of Bug straight dead sailored in the air, and then incorrect posture the next time, and you can see the difference. Yeah, and his riding's gotten better from it. So like people physically are seeing a change in a 4-hour session if you do everything.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. And we always tell people to come back. So can I mention a name? Can I say Jen is one of my good friends, and she's amazing, and she's taken a couple of our classes. She took our jump class, and she got baby air is what we're calling it. It's like a little bit of air, and she came off the jump, and she said, wow. Like, she literally said the words, wow, and she was so excited, and the biggest smile, right? But now she wants to come back and do it again, because now she's like, okay, I've got that out of the way, right? So just because you've taken a class doesn't mean you can't come back and, like, after you've practiced a little bit on your own, come back and let us record you again and see where you're at now. Let's get a little bit more of that baby air. Let's get, like, grown up air. I don't know how to call it, but, like,
toddler air.
Toddler air.
And then you get the teenage air.
There we go. Right. So it's exciting.
We pack a lot in that 4 hours. So there's a lot that people, because you can kind of see the looks on people's face sometimes, like, wait a minute. But so it is a lot that we try to pack, because we want to try to give value for people that are coming out and try to help them progress as fast as they possibly can.
Well, I've had people that were, when you guys were coming here, they were like, why would I do that? I know how to ride my bike. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, but you spent $3,000 to $10,000 on a bicycle that you barely know how to ride. So why wouldn't you do that? And then they'd ask me conversely, like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because I want to stay better than you.
That's right.
It's funny because so many people get to a point, my industry, in my profession, all that, even as a business owner, like, I had to learn all this stuff. And I have a president that runs the company now. I step away from that, and I'm just the stupid, crazy idea guy. However, I still went and found a mentor, right? So someone to help coach me so my business could grow. It's the same way with riding. Like, if you guys were closer, it'd be much more easier for me to just be like, yeah, I'll pay you, come coach me, and I'll pay because that stuff is really, really important. And once you understand that, once you get the ego out of the way,
right,
which it's, I think probably, I don't know, I can't speak as a woman, but I'm going to say most men probably have more ego wall than women.
It is definitely a thing.
Right.
There's people that, because I've been in Louisiana for 4 years or so, people I've been riding with for years, and they still won't come to take a lesson. I think it's an ego thing. I think it's like no, I know what I'm doing. I've been riding with you. So, like, but there's just so much, like I said, like the little tweaks, like where's your foot placement on your pedal? People don't realize that maybe they're on their tippy toes, or they're one finger braking is what we want you to do. But sometimes people are braking with 2 fingers, or maybe with their middle finger. I mean, it's just like these little things are where your eyes looking.
Cockpit setup, right? I mean, just getting your cockpit set up correctly is
correct.
I had someone adjust mine, and it changed my entire world. Right? My riding went through the roof.
In the tension, where is the tension on your body, and where it should be, and where is the weight on your body? There's so many different things, and I've said it before. It is so much harder to teach somebody who's been riding for 10 years than to teach a female who's coming in and like, okay, teach me.
Right.
Hey, the female could be riding for 10 years.
No, absolutely.
But
even if a guy comes in, they're still gonna be like, I don't need to learn this. I know how to ride a bike.
I think the hardest part for me is I'm a really reactive biker. Like, I let my bike do it, and then I'll react to whatever it does, instead of like a proactive, like I'm going to body position a certain spot. So, like, if I'm bombing down a downhill or an enduro race, I'm just letting the bike go, and I'm just keeping my body like, don't fall over, basically. So, like, when I took it, it was, I'll consciously, when I'm doing XC more than I'm doing the enduro stuff, I tend to see, like, I'll do the bike body separation in the corners a lot more than if I'm doing the enduro. Like, maybe the enduro, I revert back to what I felt, like what my comfort zone is. But I think that doing it more on XC, like, I'm getting more and more comfortable with turning the way that you guys teach. And I think once, it is probably the ego thing, because I even go in there like, man, I don't need this. Like, I'm super fast. But then I'm really not. So maybe if it just at that, you get to a certain point where marginal increments are huge.
My point is, it's the simplest thing. What can it hurt?
Right.
Like, humbling yourself to anything. Right. What can it hurt? If you pay, I used to say this all the time for trade show stuff. You'd go to God, I hate trade shows. And you'd go to a trade show, and I would sit through all these classes, and I would walk away with one nugget. But that one nugget ended up being worth a pain in the ass of flying to Vegas.
Right.
So I'm not saying you guys are a pain in the ass, but I'm just mean, like, humble yourself to the situation, because that one nugget you may gain may unlock something that you didn't think was possible. And it's so easy just to have the conversation about it.
Right.
One of the things that you mentioned and Carrie mentioned that I think is fascinating, that 3 out of 4 cannot really comment on, is there's a barrier that seems to be there, from her opinion, and I've heard other people say, other women or people identify as that, say that they get stuck. They get stuck in this wall of like, I'm not a dude. I don't send it like a dude.
Right.
So from your perspective, like when you coach women or when you teach women or you guys go in that, is there a difference? Like, do you approach that differently? Or is it the same pattern? You just know how to adapt it towards them? Or what is your situation there? What is your take on all that?
So since I'm the woman who tries to keep up with the men, I'm like, I feel like in the races, I try to race against the guys more so than probably my female peers. I do try to keep it the same. I try to keep the coaching the same, but I do realize that things scare women more, and it's just because of nature, right? We are the ones that would have babies. I don't have any kids, but we're more protective of our body, so we think about things differently than men do, right? We're not going to go send it blindly because in our consciousness we're thinking, what's going to happen if I run into that tree? Like who's going to do whatever, who's going to clean the house, or who's going to, there's like things that run through our heads that don't run through your heads as much, I think. And so I try to say, like I mentioned earlier, is that when you go into this, do it in a safety mindset, that you're doing this because if something pops up at you, like a drop, then you know what to do so that you're not afraid. It doesn't mean that you have to keep up with the guys. It doesn't mean that you have to go as fast as the guys, but at least you know what you're doing and you're going to be safe doing it after taking the class. And
that's my thing is like, it's not that I just think that a guy coach could teach great, right?
Right.
Because the fundamentals. But what I think is interesting about what you guys present is the fact that if I were a woman and I wanted to learn, Carrie brought it up, and I wanted to ride, I have a better opportunity to ride with instantly like-minded,
right? Who's
been there, who understands that and has that mindset already. That's a major advantage if you think about this. Sure. That sounds like a commercial plug, but it's just something like, because talking to Carrie, it stood out. Like, I didn't think about it. I don't just scream at anybody to say send it, but sometimes when the boys' egos get in that mode, I've watched it in my career professionally. Women can turn that off. They don't have the ego to get in the way, but the boys will jump off the cliff because the other boys did it.
So I just have to tell a little side story. It's funny. Sometimes when I ride with Toby or our buddy Eric at East Bank, which is one of the best bike shops, by the way. If I ride with either of those, when those two or they get other guys around them, all of a sudden they start going faster, and I'm like, wait, I thought this was supposed to be a gentleman's ride, which typically means like an easy pace, right? Like I'm like, let's just go and just have a good time. But as soon as another guy pulls up, it's like horses. The horses get up next to each other and they start going faster, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Excuse me, can I curse on this?
Oh yeah.
So and again, all intentions could be, Nina, we're going to keep it right here. But as soon as another guy comes up, then, and women, we don't really have that. I mean, unless I'm racing you.
But that's something you can turn on and off. I think men struggle with turning that on and off.
Oh my gosh. Every ride's a race.
That's why we have Garmin's.
It is.
It's Strava.
No.
God.
Oh, it is. But to get back to, the teaching methods of how we handle that and how we look at it, one of the things that we said is we progress you to your next level. And one of the things that Nina and I, after teaching hundreds of people, we've really gotten good at is, when do you progress to the next level?
Oh, good point.
And so a female or a male that shouldn't progress to the next level, we're not going to let you progress to the next level. So you may come to a jump class and you may roll over the hump 100 times, but you're going to get better at that. And so I think that you can come into our class and there's a lot of females and a lot of males that just, I don't want to jump. It's like, well, just come check it out.
Right.
And they get more comfortable on a bike by doing what we're telling them to do. And eventually some of them get baby air or kitty air or whatever we want to call it. But it's a pretty cool, the process works. And we've enjoyed watching the comfort of the ladies that come in the class, and we keep them where they're comfortable, and Nina does a great job, and that is absolutely one of the things that we love about Dirk Coaster Academy. We have both sexes represented, and we can kind of get in the shoes of our clients, of our students, and she helps me see that, I help her see that, so it really, really works.
Yeah, so if they're wanting to do something really dangerous and sketchy, I send them over to Toby.
That's right.
And I'm like, if you want to do like endurance and lots of working out, come talk to me.
So one of the other things that Dale and I have talked about it a lot, but riding right helps. This is my segue. Watch this maneuver.
Got it.
I'm teeing this one up. Riding helps not only fundamentals and having good riding skill. It doesn't help just your ride go better and make it more fun. It also helps prevent things, and I believe helps with recovery. But that said, doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes you just have a bad day.
Right. Sometimes things just happen.
And sometimes things just happen. I happen to be witness to lots of just things happening.
Yeah.
That's on record the worst one I've seen so far.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And I'm proud that you're okay. I'm glad, but like it was a very scary moment. I can only imagine.
So what happened was, right?
What had happened?
What had happened is
because they can't see.
Because they can't see that I have a hot pink cast on basically on my arm right now. Is that I did go riding with the guys, and I did try to send it with the guys at the very last ride, and so I took off a little too fast, and I got to 3 different options for which way to go. Left was on a drop, straight was down a hole, and right was like this little ledge. And mentally, I knew I this time I was going too fast. I was not going to do the drop. And then I got to the hole in the right line, and I thought, oh, which way do I go? And it's that hesitancy that caused the accident. Now, I went down into the hole, so everybody knows. I went down into the hole and landed on my left wrist and shattered it all the way up. But it wasn't a big hole, and it was basically something that should have never happened at all. But it did, and it wasn't because I wasn't riding correctly or if I didn't do anything wrong. It was just...
I saw it. I mean, it looked, no offense, until when I walked up on it, it looked gentle. It looked like a gentle fall. And the reality was we call them snake bites because you had no idea. And literally you're walking through the bush and a snake bit you. You were doing nothing wrong. You were where you're supposed to be. And there was a little bit of sand, but nothing major. No. It just was one of those situations, just bad. It just was bad in the moment.
And so, so it happened, and Toby's like, well, maybe it's just sprained. And I had saw my arm flop, so I knew it was not just sprained.
I was trying to keep calm.
Trying to keep calm.
I was calm until you like walked out of the woods and like your eyes went blank and you're like, I think I'm gonna pass out. And I was like,
I think I was having like a mini anxiety attack.
Yeah, I just grabbed you and was like, oh my gosh.
What's funny is, was it you that was helping me? Because everybody ran away from me, and I was like, is anybody gonna help me?
No, that was me.
Like,
I came back.
Like I'm still here. But you know, here's the thing is that I'm stubborn, and recovery is a thing. You do need to sit down and take a break if something like that happens. Take a break, right?
Yeah. Hey,
thing. Where's the thing?
Mom joke.
And so I try to take a couple days off, but you know, I am a coach, and I do have to get back at it, and I have to teach lessons, and so I did teach a lesson with the cast on last week. Teaching again tomorrow. And my plan was to win the race series this year, and I'm not giving that up. So I got back on the trainer I bought aero bars. So I've got only the tip of my elbows on my aero bars. And I'm trying to get back to 9+ hours a week. Now this is hard on aero bars. It's really uncomfortable. But I'm not giving up. So for those of you out there that need some motivation, here's some for you.
Oh, absolutely. It was a fluke accident,
right?
And you know, we are on mountain bikes, and we do a lot of things that we can have accidents in driving in a car, and it happens, and that's one of the things that we try to prevent. And I think we do through Dirt Coaster Academy by being in the right position, by having your weight where it should be. You're less likely to have these accidents.
That's right.
But it's still out there. And you know what? That's probably what makes it fun.
Right. Living
on
the
because
edge.
if it was safe, everybody could do it.
Everybody could do it. But, you know, everybody looks at some of the stuff that I do and, you know, hit 50-foot gaps, tabletops and 15-foot drops. And, you know, but I didn't start there. And it's very, very calculated. I'm almost 50 years old, and I've got to be safe. And my safe is a lot different from Nina's safe, is a lot different from your safe. And, you know, I've done those things so many times. Knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't have an accident.
That may be fake wood. I'm not
That's
sure.
Not what you, oh my gosh!
Right
The
behind
place
you,
is
though.
whole
It still counts.
You can't see this, but this place really
as long
looks
as you
cheesy.
believe it.
It's great. Listen, I'm thrilled with my lawyer office.
Dude, it looks awesome in the 1980s.
It is straight up out of it.
It's a beautiful place, but you know. So that's what at Dirt Coaster we're trying to teach you progress safely, and and I think we do get that accomplished.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody else is listening, we did like episode 3 or 4 on fear, overcoming fear after injury.
Yeah, and that was with John
fear
Mackey.
on bikes.
I am kind of worried about that. I'll be honest, because this was like a freak accident, but I'm like, am I going to get on a bike and just be scared of the ground?
Yeah,
now,
if you haven't checked it out, like we went pretty in depth into it, and we had John Mackey on, and John got hit by a car on his bike just in December.
Oh, my.
So he's back on a bike. He did Skyway with me. He actually just had surgery yesterday on his
But
foot.
his riding, like he got back on and it's the same thing. It was just, I mean, a lot of it is the thing that I think is fascinating is if you, and this sounds like another shameless, if you have good fundamentals, getting back to it, that part's already covered.
Right.
So then it's just the mental game, and it's like baby steps through it. Once you do it again, you're like, oh, okay, I'm cool. I had a pretty nasty wreck at the Reb. Obviously didn't sustain anything like yours, but I had a nasty wreck and it was enough to like spook me for a while because I quit mountain biking from an injury, from a wreck.
Is that where that break came from? The 10 years or whatever?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah, I was riding a rock hopper. It was hardtail back then. And I had worn the edge of my handlebars off. And so when I crashed, I OTB'd really hard and the handlebar came and literally hit me directly in the nipple.
My.
Oh, wow.
And it punctured it. Like it punched a hole in
my gosh.
And so it was bleeding and it just was enough. Knocked the wind out of me. I was trapped in the woods by myself. It was hot as hell and I was bleeding really profusely. And it was enough to be like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And then I got a kidney stone from it. From jumping so much, it knocked a kidney stone loose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh my gosh.
Terrible. So I was like, mountain biking sucks.
Right.
But it was still, once I came back, it was that fast. Maybe not my riding skills, but like the love of it kicked back in. So it won't go away.
Well, and it's not only, the skills, but it's also the bikes. I mean, you have to have confidence in the bikes and let the bikes do what they were designed to do. Yep. So one of those things is being in the right position. But the second thing is knowing when to stay off the brakes and when to apply the brakes, because that can get a lot of people in trouble. And but if you have confidence in especially the trail builders nowadays are building some beautiful trails that they look gnarly, but they're designed for mountain bikes to ride, so your bike can do that. And a lot of times when people get in trouble is when they go into Never Never Land, they go into halfway, and you either go or you don't go. Mm-hmm. And if you go halfway, you stop the bike from doing what the bike's supposed to do. So getting over that fear that a lot of people have is simply, slowly building, progressing, and gaining that confidence. And that's what Nina's going to have to do. Nina's going to have to start off small.
I think every athlete, though, experiences this. I said it on the podcast before. Like, there's some athletes, like professional athletes, that have a bad injury that never come. They're never the same player again.
Right.
And you're always like, what happened to that guy? Like, he was a stud. Now he's not good. It's because he couldn't get over the fear part of it. And I think once you realize that, yes, I can do it. I was already scared before to a certain extent. That fear is nothing. I mean, my hand is still here. I mean,
Well, so I did ask, it's funny. I was like, am I going to be like bionic now? Like I was asking right? Cause there's like just so y'all know, there's a metal plate and 12 screws in my arm now. And I was like, so can this break? And the doctor was like, yes, it can still break again. I'm like, damn. Cause I was really hoping like that, if I do fall down on the left side again, then I am like set.
So one of our premier trail builders, Jakey Poo, the guy that rides the tricycle, the kid's
Jakey
bike.
Poo.
That's what we call him.
That's awesome.
But Jakey
he doesn't
Poo,
listen anyway, so we can call him whatever we want.
He's never listened to a podcast in his life, so we just talk
And
trash.
we're not allowed to text emojis to him. He's so old school, man.
But he was trying to do something stupid. His was not in your scenario, and it did. He had the exact same break, left, and it took him whatever time to recover. But then, like, it's the same thing. He rode a little bit, and then he was like, oh, I'm good. It's just like, it was like a light switch.
Yeah.
And it seems to be, that's what people say also when they leave classes, is that some people, I'm sure you've seen it, it's like a light switch. They're like, oh, and then suddenly it progressed for me. Yes. My turning got better when someone was like, hey, man, this is how you should do it. And I was like, then all of a sudden it clicked, right?
Yeah.
So same thing.
And like I said, there's some people that have been riding with me for a couple years, and some of them have taken our classes. And you notice things like, for example, the feet placement that we mentioned earlier. We had this one guy that was riding on his tippy toes the whole time I've known him, and I never even noticed that, right? Because I wasn't a coach at the time. But now that I am, and I have to look at things in a different light, when he came to the class, I noticed it, and we corrected it. But it was causing him to feel fear of going down hills, right? Because he always felt this like forward motion. Well, if you get off your tippy toes, then that's going to completely change the way that you feel doing certain things, as well as dropping the seat down. He wasn't dropping the seat down. So those little bitty tweaks make a world of difference. And it makes a more confident rider.
Yeah.
And even as a coach, I was, I'm not joking when I begged Nina, video me and show me, because we feel like we look like that superstar, and we are just in the right position, and we are cruising, and then the videos never lie. And then having an expert actually analyze your videos is just it really.
Sometimes he
meaningful.
likes me, sometimes he doesn't.
Not more, not.
What I don't get though is people spend thousands. I used to work at a golf course. I don't play golf,
yeah.
but people spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to get their swing analyzed and change clubs and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
All it is coaching.
Yep.
Why would you not do the exact same thing if your hobby is mountain biking? Because, I mean, let's face it, you could spend, we've got friends that have spent 10, 15 grand on bikes, right?
Yep.
There's
Same thing for skiing, right?
Same thing
all
with
of
skiing.
those things.
Skiing.
Any of that stuff.
You know, one of the things that's really, really cool that we're finding out is that, you know, a lot of these kids are playing travel ball and their families are spending so much money on coaches for them. And then we've had several families come through and did several lessons with them, a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter.
Awesome.
And so they are actually doing that, and they're not behind a fence watching their kid. They're actually side by side with their kid.
That is fantastic.
And we had one family that told us, my son and daughter never talked before this. They didn't say two words. Now they don't shut up.
Right.
Because they love mountain biking. That's really cool to watch and to see. And we're seeing more and more of that come.
So what was the impetus? You kind of mentioned it. You guys just want to do something, but is that where it came from? What made you? Because this, I mean, you're driving a lot. There's a labor of love. There's a passion about it. I get it. So what is if you boiled it down to a simple core message? What is it? What makes you do this? You guys, why do you do this? I mean, because it's
why. Why? It's an important question. Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
We absolutely love mountain biking, and we love to share our passion for mountain biking. It's and we both are ridiculously competitive in everything we do. And we don't do anything
I'm better
small.
than you. I'm just kidding.
She wishes. And so
we're not in competition, Toby.
We got to try to tell it, but it keeps on blossoming, and we're about to expand Dirk Coaster. But it all boils down to we love mountain biking, and we absolutely love watching people learn.
That's what I was going to say is it's, you know, before I even started this is I would take people out on the trails for me and try to convince them that mountain biking is fun. You always get people who, like, just same thing with horses. I have a horse, by the way. So horseback riding, if you've had a bad experience on a horse, nobody ever wants to go back on the horse, right?
I hate horses.
Perfect example. But if you had a good horse and your first experience was pleasant, right? If you were on a beach and the horse was super calm and you got the wind in your hair and it's, you know, cool day outside, there's a different experience. And so I feel like when people go out mountain biking, it's usually someone that is more experienced as the leader, and they take them down some chunky, rocky, rooty, something or other. And people are like, I never want to do that again, right? So for me, I used to take people out and I'm like, I promise you're going to love it. You're in nature. You can think about whatever you want. The only thing, the reason why I like it so much is that the only thing I can think about is root, rock, tree, what's in front of me, what am I doing? There's not much, since my job as my regular job is so demanding, sometimes being out in the woods is just a nice mental space, right? So getting people out there and having them enjoy that and not be afraid is huge. And so if we could teach them the fundamentals and how to handle their bike, maybe they'll feel that as more of an exciting experience.
It seems like we got to figure out a way to get you guys like partnered. It seems like it's almost like if you buy a bike, you should get, you know, it's prepaid.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like it needs to be signed up because what a difference that would make if you spent, because bikes are hard to come by. I mean, they're getting a little bit easier to find. But even then, if you buy a hardtail and you go and you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Right.
I don't think there's a medium. I don't think there's a middle. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it sucks, and then your ass hurts and legs hurt,
yep.
And you're just
cursing
like
at the person in front of you.
Yeah.
I literally feel like we just explained my wife and I's relationship. Like she hates me so bad about mountain biking. She's like, "You bought me this nice expensive bike. Like I'm not even gonna ride it. What's the point?" I'm like, well, you've ridden it, and she's like, yeah, I hate it every second.
Sounds like
of
she
it.
needs to come take a class.
There you go.
She's that far past it.
She's
Okay,
past
she's
it.
that far past it.
But also, it's like everything I've ever done, I try to get her to do. Like golf,
Yeah.
I took her to golf with me, and she beat me, so I'm not taking her back to do that. Like she can go play somewhere else.
We've actually had that experience. We had a guy quit the class.
Whoa.
Mid-class. Literally, he was like
because
done.
he brought his wife. I'm not sure what relationship they had or a significant other, and she was ripping. And she was doing everything good. And
he said he doesn't feel good, and bless his heart, he might not have felt good, right?
He might not.
No, that's
But-
a cheap cop out. No dude is giving that
I'm
up.
trying to be nice, but maybe.
If you're listening to the podcast, we're sorry.
Yeah,
paid
but she
for
was
it, bro.
doing
You
great.
would
Your
feel-
wife
We didn't
is
say
fantastic.
your name, Jeff.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. His name's
Albert.
not Jeff.
Tony. We're saying a bunch of
So
different names.
here's a funny little side story: is every trainer or coach has a coach, right? For example, Toby and I are each other's coach. He helps me and I help him. And I have a coach, an endurance coach. And sometimes on his podcast, he has a podcast, he talks about his students. And I'm like, don't ever put me on that dang podcast. Like, I better not be the one that you're like, she's on the trainer and she's doing this kind of crazy thing.
There is no student client privilege
Right?
situation.
Not here. But
Yeah.
we are seeing a growing trend in husbands actually taking their wives. And, whenever they come and they see a female there too and they get comfortable.
Yeah.
And we seeing fathers taking their daughters. And we got one guy that he's so excited. He's like, I just want to help you guys in a mission, help you with some marketing. And we're like, and he goes, no, I just love what y'all are doing. And I can't tell you how awesome it was. My daughter didn't want to go anywhere near a mountain bike. She came take your class, and now she loves mountain biking.
Yeah, he
Right.
said she
That's
couldn't
just
get
so
off the
cool.
bike after the class. Like, they rode around Bogachita for the rest of the afternoon for hours. And he's like, I couldn't even get her on the bike before that.
Oh, the why, man, that is
Right.
stuff like that just is so cool to be a part of.
Yeah, when you connect with somebody on that level and you see like transformational change, like that's beyond business. That's getting into a platform that's rare, right?
Right.
Which is kind of what you guys represent. And when you start traveling, because your travel space, how far are y'all going now? Because you did some stuff in Bentonville. Did I see
Yeah.
that?
We Bentonville.
So
Yep.
we're
Hot
about
Springs.
9 hours is the circle right now
Right.
of what we're doing, plus the race traveling too.
You
So
guys
we-
need to
we
clone
travel.
yourselves.
We keep getting asked that.
we're and it's hard to do that because you want once you leave the immediate circle, the quality quality control is really hard, and then we really get along, and I think we actually entertain while we're teaching. So that's
Kinda
something
funny,
very.
or I'm funny.
She thinks she's funny. So please, if you take our class in the future, laugh at
See,
her
you
jokes.
laughed.
Just laugh.
Laugh at her
See?
jokes. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to expand. There's got to be a lot of trust, and there will be some expansion in Dirk Coaster Academy. Very, very, very slow. And very, very
Yeah, because you guys have
intentional.
built a brand that you're proud of, and you don't want it to be tarnished by somebody else because it's not you, right?
Well,
Like,
Right.
controlled growth though is crucial. I mean, that's business, and
Right.
that's your background, right? Both of you.
Both of us.
So like that world is, again, mine was controlled growth through ignorance. I'm a filmmaker. I have no idea. I know how to manage a $2, $5, $10 million budget, but that's on one project. Now you got to tell me I got to spread that out and give you a yearly project. I don't know what I'm doing. So I had to learn all those things. So what I'm saying is controlled growth is important. The same with riding is like, if you give me too much, then I won't be able to maintain it. And that's what I think is really
Right.
interesting about what you guys have done of like being able to take it to the next level. So it's encouraging the rider to get there, because I'll remember what I did last time, add to it, right? Constantly adding to it. So you build up, build up, build up. What do you guys see in terms of trends of riding going forward? What is your like kind of takeaway of things that get you excited? Obviously the pandemic did a lot. Did you guys work during the pandemic? Were you doing?
We did.
Remote.
Yeah. So regular work, yes, we worked. I used to travel 5 days a week, so that was kind of nice to sit. My biking went way up after I couldn't travel in an
It's a lot
airplane.
easier.
Yeah.
But as far as dirt coaster stuff, or mountain biking in general, I think during the pandemic, people totally brought their bikes out of their attics, and it was like everybody go outside all at one time,
Right.
If you can get your hand on a bike, go outside. And so we've had so many people come to classes because they just got their bike out because they just want to get out of their house.
Yeah. And as far as what we kind of see next in just general mountain biking as we're watching, I mean, I think, all the progressions that's been made has been absolutely amazing. One of the things that we're actively a part of is we're definitely trying to get the female population of mountain biking up.
Yep.
We absolutely love, we do some women's only classes. So we want to, we want to make sure that we're promoting that. Some of the other things, and we absolutely disagree on this. I mean, I think one of the biggest things that we're going to see is the evolution of the e-bike.
Yep.
And how that affects mountain biking. So, all those Amish bike riders. And I have a bunch of them, but the e-bike is absolutely amazing, and they're making them much more less like a throttle,
Yeah.
and much more like you've got to work, and then you get a little bit of assistance, and I'm going to say it here first that all the spandex type and all the mountain bikers that train, there is a thought path that you have to do zone 2 training. I don't know if listeners heard what zone 2 training is, but it's a lot easier, and it's a big no to do that on a mountain bike because you're going to exert yourself way too much. And so I'm like, man, I want to do that zone 2 training, but I want to get on my mountain bike. And so I'm able to keep my heart rate down, get on an e-bike, still working on my handling skills, and still do that zone 2 training. And one of my inventions that I'm going to make is I'm going to get an e-bike with an ERG mode that
brilliant.
You put out a constant watts so you don't get your heart rate up, and it automatically changes on the e-bike. So whatever company uses
That'd be
that,
awesome.
They need to come back to me and pay
There,
me
it'll be in evidence.
It'll
as of
be
right
in
now.
evidence.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's an
The
IP
Cortez
law.
controller.
Yeah, the Cortez controller.
Yes, the Cortez controller.
That would be awesome because, part of mountain biking for me specifically was fitness. And there's a lot of people, like, for example, my trainer, he said, what are you doing this for? Like, why are you training this hard?
Right.
He's like, are you trying to lose weight? And I'm not trying to lose weight. But that is one of the things that he gets people that come to do endurance training with him specifically to lose weight, right? And so while the e-bike is fantastic, I don't want to do an e-bike because I want to keep my fitness where it's at. So there's different perspectives on things, and there's different reasons that people do different things, right? I won't go into electric vehicles versus diesel trucks, but there's a reason why I drive what I do, and so.
Oh, I love it.
So e-bikes are great. Maybe zone 2 on an e-bike. Maybe one day, Toby, if you invent that.
I do think though we all agree like the biggest thing we've seen from e-bikes is accessibility. It has allowed a lot of new riders
Absolutely.
that have not been able to participate. Now they have the opportunity
Yep.
to. I think the zone thing's brilliant. It's just something I struggle with because it was fascinating to me, and I can't at the rep. Like if you ride
can't.
out there, like as soon
On
as
a
I start
mountain bike,
riding back up, it's over.
It's over.
I'm hitting way out of the park. So,
But what's very, very alarming is that sometimes that attainability on an e-bike, on a regular bike, it comes at a cost that you have to progress. You jump on an e-bike and you could hit 60 miles an hour going through the trail. So if you buy an e-bike, I really think you ought to think about coming and take a class.
Yeah.
Learn how to handle that beast. You have so much power underneath you that you can get in trouble quick.
and then the weight, I imagine, is going to shift things around too, right? I mean,
Totally.
most analog bikes
heavier.
are going towards the lighter
The
side,
analog.
and then you have the.
I love it.
So it
I like Amish bike.
I like
think that's
Amish
good,
bikes too. It makes me think of a horse, so it's like
That's
both,
exact-
right?
They have square
My
wheels.
bikes are
They have
named after
square
horses,
wheels.
anyways.
Yeah.
So I think, we're talking about the weight. I think we're going to have to progress how we teach mountain biking, because you do teach mountain biking a little bit different on an e-bike than you do, because you have to control that weight of the mountain bike of the e-bike.
Yeah.
So we're going to.
But it is a benefit for those people that come to take our classes with an e-bike, because a lot of our classes are on a slight slope downhill so that you can get momentum up and you can do these skills. And so when we make you repeat them over and over and over again, you're having to bike uphill. And so for the e-bike people, they're like, oh, this is a breeze. I can do it 900 times, right? So whereas the Amish bikes have to climb the hill every time.
But I do. Make no mistake about it. I mean, my number one bikes that I ride is the tried and true Amish bikes that I absolutely love. I mean, there's something about getting yourself up to the top of a hill for a descent is
Earning
pretty
it.
cool.
I love the earning.
Earning it.
I
Right?
love
the
You get to
earning.
the top and you stand up there and look over and you know you had no help.
I
I
love
look
it.
for a place a helicopter can land usually to
Yeah.
come pick me up.
Dale's like,
You're moving to Colorado, right?
biking.
Take
I want to
the
go on that
ski
trip
lift
too.
up.
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna get the Uber Eats.
Hey,
and
I did
drive
a
him up there.
70-mile, 7,000-foot climb race this year. I'm good.
Yeah, you did it. All right, so I'm a big believer in giving something great away. We were supposed to give something away this week.
No one said anything. So
Well, they
we're gonna have-
suck. You guys missed
yeah.
out. But I do think it's important to give something away small. So, what is one piece of advice separately? Can't be joined. Independent advice.
Can't look at each other. Wait.
Yeah. You can't look at each other because you're signaling with your eyes.
I'm
when
like-
you guys are at work married, you can see it. It's like
Right?
ding,
I'm like,
ding,
what are we
ding,
looking
Oh
at?
my god!
Like Morgan could come stand right here and I'd be like 3 eyeball winks and she'd be like, yeah, got it. We'll kick him out in a second. I'd be like, got it. But what is one piece of advice that you could give to anybody that's not just come take the class, because that's the continuation of it, but what is that one piece of advice to really help them unlock themselves, at least to start? Like, what's one piece of advice you would give to help somebody
Drop
start?
it like it's hot. So, 1,000% what changed me as a rider was the dropper post. And I still see people today have new bikes, have a dropper post on them, never use them. Don't know how to use them, don't want to use them, think they don't need to use them. It is game changing. I mean, I have never felt more safe on a bike and never felt more in control. And I mean, I just can't even, I'm probably beaming just sitting here. I'm like, that is 100% a absolute must use, not just have, right? Use it. Because so many people have it. Even bike shops that sell them sometimes will say, oh, around this trail, you don't really need it. Just use it. Just try it.
Right.
So it actually goes along with that is
they didn't look at each other though. Just
I was about to say,
we didn't.
You're feeding off of me. I can feel it.
If you do have your seat up, you do not want your weight on your butt, and I think that is
unless you're going uphill.
Probably one of the Well, then you'd have your seat down. But one of the key factors is get your weight off your seat because that's not where the weight should be.
And to learn more on how to do that, you can go to dirtcoasteracademy.com.
Hey, I got a couple questions for us, our sake. You guys got to ride the Rebellion. We talked about the Rebellion on this podcast. You guys get to ride a ton of places. We know it doesn't compare to a lot. But what did you get? What was your impression of it? I know we talked about it to you before and like, hey, come ride with us. I'd love to hear like what you guys thought about it. I mean, prior to,
because y'all are kind of legendary, especially with Bogachito. Yeah. You did the impossible, right? You made something no one expected in the Southeast.
So I absolutely love variety. And I love old school trails, and that's what I learned on. And we're even at the Bogachito, we're kind of going back to old school trails, and that's what you guys have done out there. Amazing what you've done with what you have. It was really, really fun to ride. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I didn't even think of it as old school. I think it was great. I mean, I think that you guys have a lot going. It's I can't wait to see what you do with it. Put it that way, is like how much more you can build onto it, because you have a lot of opportunity, a lot of area that you can build to. But what I like specifically, if we go back to talking about women, is that I can get the women out there and do anything out there. Like you guys have drops that I feel comfortable enough that if they took our drop class, that they could do those drops, right? Mm-hmm. They weren't so high like the Tower of Terror. They weren't so overwhelming that I feel like I can't convince somebody if they have the right technique to do them. And so I think you have enough technical with enough flowy sections that you could get anybody out there. So you've done a really good job of incorporating, all aspects of riders.
That means a lot, because for us, it's more a matter of the goal of that is to go public one day. Mm-hmm. Like we don't want to keep it private forever. We want it to be open.
Why
we
not?
need help.
Keep it just for us. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, we want
to be exclusive.
Yeah,
exclusive.
We love that part of it because we go there and like I went out there last week. I got there at 7 a.m. and saw the sun rise over the dirt thing, and it was like,
and there's something special about that.
Yeah.
Like that's but the challenge is that my business does that. It helps people, so I can't help. My personality is this brings me great joy.
Right.
I was a filmmaker ahead of this, right?
Yep.
So I made movies for millions of dollars that brought joy or terror, whatever. It gave a serotonin release of some sort. I want people to have that with that, right? So I think it's only fair, like down the road, that's the goal, is to open it up that way. But it's one of those situations of like, how do you get them there? And it's just, there's legal challenges, and it's not federal land. It's not state land. It's private land. And so there's all these really stupid things. And there's just shit tons of fucking spiders.
Oh yeah, but at least they're not the the
horse
flies.
We love the spiders because the spiders get rid of the horse
spiders.
flies.
That's right.
Not banana spiders when they're this big.
But they're the ones that eat the horse flies.
I know, but they also cause me to crash. I crashed the most.
Okay.
Oh man.
At least you didn't do this, right?
That's because I hit with my head.
Oh,
I had
good.
a helmet, but it was bad.
I don't mind the spiders. They're cool.
Not for me.
So I think the trail is great. Just
to
one more time. I think it's going to be great when you guys get a little bit more.
Absolutely. I can't wait to ride the new trail.
And on top of that, so mountain biking is a dangerous sport. I don't know if anybody knows that, but it's a dangerous sport, right? A couple years ago, 2018, I got into a bad accident and got a concussion. And I pretty much don't remember all of 2018. That's how bad it was. And I remember my family asking, like, the park should be the ones held responsible for you crashing like that. And there's a huge sign that it's at your own risk, right? Like, this is a dangerous sport, but everything in life has got some kind of danger to it. Don't know where I'm going with that tangent, but your trail is great.
The trail was awesome.
Awesome.
And we can't. And we can't wait to ride it again.
Yeah, we actually
Thanks, partner.
We always have a waiver for everybody to sign.
Well, look, at
Right?
the end of the day, I'd rather ride a bike than smoke a pack of cigarettes.
That's
As a
right.
former
Oh my
smoker,
gosh.
I'd rather risk my life on a bike
1,000%.
than on a pack of ciggies. I think since we don't have a contest situation,
We'll just do it online or something. I don't
just
know.
come up with
We have
something.
some very unmotivated listeners. Everybody's
we
like,
have a
"Oh,
lot.
I heard it."
We have a lot of listeners.
We have a lot, but it's like, I heard your podcast. That was awesome. Like, okay, well, did you hear how you can win something?
Maybe they didn't want. All right, so we'll. Change
So
the
how about a
post.
free set of classes? We'll do.
Whoa!
Well, she didn't talk to me about that. Wait,
We're talking right now. See,
No,
you were
putting that at the beginning of the
you
podcast
were
now.
supposed to look at me and see that I was going to do that.
no.
You're supposed to know, right?
I have absolutely no authority.
I just
so,
became a
yes,
listener.
I
Whatever she
always
says.
win.
If you guys are going to do that, that is like beyond generous. Well, what do you want them to do? How do we
have
want
to
to
earn
have
it.
They
them win
have
it?
to take. Oh, well, so it would be for the fundamentals, intermediate, and the jump class. So the whole day. It'd take the whole day. One person,
Yes.
right?
And we'll come back to Mobile because we're probably going to come back to Mobile to do it.
They have to reference something during the podcast. They have to
Yes.
know something that we said in the podcast.
Well, they got to tell us. See, we got to because we got to announce it next week
Okay.
Oh,
or
No.
next
what
how you
episode.
do
color
this.
is my
What-
cast? Was that?
Oh, what
we
color
did say
is
that.
it?
We did say
we
that.
did say that.
Yeah.
I did.
Yes. There you
Okay,
go.
there we go.
All right.
All right.
Wow, that's good.
Wait,
Right?
does it
That's
have
actually
to be,
very smart. That's a smart
Does
thing.
it
Me
have
and
to
Dale
be
never
the
get that.
first person to say it?
No, I
I
think we just put them in there and we pick one.
Okay.
There we go.
Right.
Somebody might have seen me
So
around
the
town or
first
something.
person that we find is going to be like the one that's like, that's bullshit. I knew it. Right?
Yeah, right.
But then it's like, it's not fair. So we'll put them all in a hat and we'll draw it, which normally.
Life's not fair.
Yeah. And
Just
we'll
for
draw it
that.
out of this Dirt Coaster hat. I'm
Dirt
wearing.
Coaster Academy.
There we go.
hat. And they'll get a free Dirt Coaster Academy hat.
Wow.
Wow, we are,
thanks.
you didn't ask me.
I'm sorry. See, I got to try to get
guys are-
some authority.
You guys are doing all these free things. We won't even let anybody come ride where we talk about all the time.
We're such a-holes, and you guys are the most generous people on there. Is there anything else you want to plug? What about socials? Do you want people to follow you? Obviously, they can go to dirtcoasteracademy.com.
Yeah, so Facebook and Instagram is where we're at. We're opening a YouTube channel. We're working on that right now.
We know a guy.
So either Instagram or Facebook. We tried our hand at TikTok. Not really sure that that's our thing or my thing. I really don't want to
definitely
focus
not
on
my
that.
thing.
The
What
tic-tac, we
is
don't do-
TikTok?
we don't
Is
do
it-
tic-tac.
Is that a
We don't
breath
do
mint?
tic-tac.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
Yes.
It's a Tic Tac.
We're generationally challenged.
Don't
with
follow
it.
us on TikTok. So yeah. So those two
Is it
social
all
media
Dirt Coaster
channels.
Academy? At Dirt Coaster Academy?
Yep.
If we just do that, we'll get everybody. Right?
Yep.
one
And if
word.
you go to our website, it actually has a one page that it's all socials. So
Right.
either way.
What about individuals? No individual accounts? You want to keep it straightforward?
So I'm
'Cause
Mountain
you
Bike
mentioned-
Barbie, MTB Barbie. It's funny story. Somebody nicknamed me that at a trail. They were like, "Oh, where did Mountain Bike Barbie go?" Because I had a bunch of pink on. So I'm Mountain Bike Barbie on Strava and on Instagram.
I actually like that name. I think it's a middle finger to whoever said that.
It really is.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it was kind of like a so I was volunteering at the trail for a
Yeah.
race, and every time they passed me, because I was a volunteer, I was waving people down, and we heckle people in Georgia. So when you're not going fast enough, then I was the one heckling you. So he said when he came back by and I had switched place with an older gentleman, he was like, "Where did Mountain Bike Barbie go? Like, where did that girl go?" And he told me, and I was like, "That's hilarious," because I have a pink helmet, I wear, and I'm gonna own it. I don't want to be the girl that has to dress like a typical mountain bike girl, right? I mean, I like getting my hair done and I like my purses and etc. And I'm gonna go send it with the guys, but I'm gonna wear pink while I do it. So
Absolutely.
MTB Barbie,
And the sunglasses.
and I got some really cool sunglasses. Pock.
It's so cool because you can be a girl, a
Yep.
lady,
Right.
and still ride mountain bikes, and that's
Right.
love that. And Toby Cortez at I think Toby Cortez Dirt Coaster Academy is my Instagram,
Okay.
but I'm not too active.
What's the next? What's your next race? You're coming up. You're training.
Yes. Well, so I just did one. I got first at what was the race that I just did?
Hattiesburg.
Hattiesburg.
Toughburg.
Tough.
Yeah, Toughburg. I got
Nice.
first at Toughburg, and then and I was planning on doing some more, but I think it's August is my next one. So I
you
should
don't
be
want
out
to
of
race
this.
time of year anyway. It's
Oh,
too
Right?
hot.
It's
gosh.
brutal hot outside, and I race cat too, so it's a lot of miles in the heat.
That's great.
Yes. So I'm doing one in North Carolina, Cherokee, and then 2 weeks later at the Rock, Wind Rock. So I'm looking forward. It's kind of where I cut my teeth on downhill. So to go back there and actually try to race it and not just survive it is going to be an experience.
So I think it would be really cool because we have our audience. They should come. Bring the chainsaw without the chain on it. Stand on the side, and when Torby, I just did it. When Tony, jeez Louise, I'm done. When Toby and Nina come by on their respective races, fire the chainsaws up and get that big hoot and holler going. So that I think we should do that. And then when you hear it, you'll know it's a bunch of
Rebellion
a-holes.
Love it.
That are doing that stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, is there anything else we want to share?
I have to promote something.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
So,
Dale Boyd, sports management
coming front.
I think.
So,
is it because he loves his wife? Is it
no
something about your wife?
No,
we got one in.
We got a little one in. It's once an episode. I gotta make fun of her. Yeah, I did the dishes. Make sure you're not swimming right now.
Dale does dishes.
Dale does dishes. So I've been working with the Mobile Cycling Classic. It's actually a road bike crit race that they have here in Mobile.
Yep.
For the last 2 years, John and I have gone and heckled the racers and yelled at them and drank beer and just made fun of them. Well, the drunker we got, the more ambitious we got, and I got with the race promoter and told him we need to have a mountain bike version of this. And so he messaged me and was like, we should do it. So I kind of helped create the rules of it and put it together, pushed it out this week. Yep. There's a mountain bike crit. It's going to be only like a 20-minute thing in between the pro men and pro women on Saturday night of August 20th.
Awesome.
So I put down the rules, and it was actually, some people complained. I don't really care because I made the rules. The rules were no drop bars, 2.3-inch tires or bigger, no lycra, and no whining.
That's
awesome. And so I think it'd be more fun if people would dress up like Flutog style. I'm going to dress up in a kid's Batman outfit because my bike is blacked out. So I'm going to ride and look like Fat Man.
Funny.
And it's going to be brilliant. So we're trying to get more people I think it'd be fun if people dressed up.
Well, and I had people reach out and be like, well, no lacquer, I'm not racing. I'm like, well, you didn't read the next rule because it was no whining. Like,
right, if so you're already out.
If you want to
wear,
if you want to complain about that rule, then you've lost sight of what the actual race is about. It was just about like, we're going there to hang out. We want to bring our bikes too. Like, I'm going to ride my long travel bike, not the carbon one. Like, I don't plan on going super fast.
Take the e-bike.
So,
oh my God!
Yeah, if you go to e-bike, take e-bike to a crit race. Those people.
So I can let you borrow my costume that I wore for Halloween. It was a leotard.
Yes.
Leopard print.
I'll do it.
Done. Lycra, that's Lycra available.
I was going to say, that's Lycra. I don't think I own anything but Lycra.
Jorts.
Oh, I'm 100%.
That's in.
Yeah.
A belly chain.
Oh my God.
And a studded bra. It was a pretty cool.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
I will do it. We still want to do, we have a friend that came up with the idea of what is his Bigfoot idea's name? Shredfoot. And you get somebody to ride some gnarly stuff dressed up as Bigfoot.
The funniest part is, I know Boomtown Bill's listening, but he
Bill.
messaged me and said, hey, dude, I know you don't know me and we've never actually met, but I love the way you ride. I think it's awesome. And I have a really cool idea called Shredfoot. Would you mind me videoing you in a Bigfoot costume in the woods?
He broke his collar. Awesome. He broke his collar, Bogachita.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
But he said, I was like, what an intro. Hell yes.
He made a mistake.
He should do our one of our promotions, Ride Better, Shred Better.
Yeah,
Shredfoot better.
Oh shit.
Boomtown Bill's going to be a director pretty soon.
Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. Yeah, YouTube channel thing that we got going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anybody that wants to do it, Mobile Cycling Classic's super fun for even road bikers. You know, the crit races are a ton of fun.
Can you explain what a crit race is?
So it's just a shorter kind of round and round. I mean, I don't really know.
It's not really round. It's actually 90-degree turns.
Yeah, they're 90 degrees super fast.
And you actually, if you like actions, a lot of times you'll see road bike riders go into each other, and then that crowd gets jumped over.
I have a video of
kind of nasty.
I have a video at the finish line. A guy's chain broke. And the sound, I'll never forget the sound. I have it on my phone. I don't share it because the sound of carbon scraping on the ground in a big pile up is the most disturbing sound you've ever heard in your life.
Mountain biking is relatively safe.
Yes.
That is dangerous.
No, those guys are doing 30 miles an hour.
That scares me.
A tree doesn't hit you.
No.
That's all I'm saying. Exactly. A tree does not hit you.
I mean, it's a Peloton.
It's a
Peloton,
yeah.
And they're wheel to wheel, 30 mile an hour for 30 minutes.
90 degrees.
And the pros Saturday, the women are 50 minutes. We're going to be 20, and then the men are 60. So 60 minutes at 25 mile an hour.
I'm going to go for 2 laps.
No, you'll be able to do more than that.
No, but I want to go that slow.
Don't be part of the Peloton.
And last year, so what happened last year is he had the pro men go and then the pro women go, and like everybody started milling around because the pro women are nowhere near as fast. And I was like, dude, just put us before the women, and then the women will look super fast.
Right?
It'll be a lot better. But I hope to get as many people. He told me if I can get 20 people. I said I can get 20 people.
Oh, man.
You can get 20 people.
Yeah.
We'll pass this around too.
It's just going to be open class, like for fun, basically. So
Well, somebody's going to win it and claim it.
I'm wearing
Okay.
the belt, so come get some.
You should wear. We got to have another challenge. You're not allowed to participate.
I can't touch the. I just
No, because I saw you sing Run DMC. I don't know. Did
Hey,
you
we
ever see
gotta
the video
do.
I made of that? It went really viral on YouTube.
Nuh-uh.
I took the Dukes of Hazzard theme song, and
Yeah.
it's dun, ding, ding, and it's you just flying off the cliff, just a good old boy, and you hit, and then Dale's right behind you.
So we actually have amended
That's
that
awesome.
trail because we built a wood berm right before it.
Uh-huh.
So you go wood berm and then you go straight, and then Jakey Poo, I don't know if you finished it, a wood drop that goes all the way
Oh,
down
sweet.
that.
Oh,
So you
that's
can have
awesome.
alternate lines. You can go the one we did, or you can do the wood drop.
Yeah, and come fall, there'll be a bunch of new trails. So you guys will have to come out and ride. We're always coming over to, and if we see you out there, it's always a pleasure to see you out at Boca Chica. I met you a long, long time ago. I think it had maybe just opened, and you made an impression then. I think I've told you that before. You made a huge impression, and I was like, man, what a great person. And I came back and was like, y'all got to meet this Toby dude. I can't remember his last name, but he's over. Oh, Cortez. Yeah, that's it. And then
That's the name of the trail, right?
I tried to get all the Samba people to come over and have a chat, just so that, because of what you did, and I thought it was really great. I didn't know you yet.
No, that's okay.
And then I heard all these stories, and I was like, wow, they're going to come over. And so it was a big deal. So I'm very grateful that you guys are sitting in this office, in this space. Like, it's a big deal.
Thank you for
I'm
having
very
us.
sorry about your arm. I'm glad it's getting better. I think it'll make you better, faster, stronger.
Right? Recovery is everybody keeps telling me you're going to come back stronger. It was like forced recovery is what it's called.
Yes.
It's
You
like
will.
someone told me to sit the hell down is basically what that is.
That's right. So that's it. I'm going to say this. One last thing. If you would like, this is an insane prize. So you get Dirk Coaster Academy, the full set of classes.
Yep.
Is what we're saying. And a hat, which
And
I think
a
is rad.
hat.
It's a great hat. I'm wearing it right now because they're nice enough to give me one. All you have to do is say in the comments, in the reviews, in a post, in anything, what color this cast is that Nina is wearing. And she has said it, I think only one time, maybe twice.
No once is
Like one
fine,
time.
and don't repeat
One
it.
time.
Yep.
Yes. That's it. It's somewhere in the middle, too. It was like buried.
And then we'll do a drawing, right?
then there'll be a
'Cause
drawing
Some people
after
might know
number-
me,
yeah, yeah.
right? They might know what color my cast is.
Yeah.
So then we'll do a drawing.
Even then, it's fair. It's still fair to do the drawing, but this gets you into the drawing.
That's right.
Name the color of the cast. You get in the drawing, and
Man, I can't wait to enter my name in.
You don't count. I'm just kidding.
Dang, that really blows. I didn't even think about that.
We got it.
Oh, we don't get anything.
You got a hat.
No, we got a whole
No,
box.
this
wearing a
hat's
hat.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's a Richardson. It's always those are amazing.
No,
I know, I
I
have a
put it
whole
on
box.
immediately, and it was like it fit great.
I have a whole box of hand up stuff that we can give away, but no one ever enters our contest.
They're gonna win if they miss this one. I'm
they're gonna-
claiming it.
Yeah. That's true.
That's
we
right.
can wrestle for it. Greco-Roman style.
Oiled.
In the sun.
Only oiled. Only oiled.
I can video that.
And that'll make your YouTube go
Just-
fire.
Absolutely.
Caught the
So you
rebellion,
gotta,
guys.
you gotta crit a mile and then wrestle in oil and then climb back up the hill.
It's very expensive oil. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you again for listening. Thank you. Let's see if I can get their names. Toby and Nina, instead of me combining words here. Thank you guys for coming out. We truly appreciate it. It's always humbling to have you here. Any last send off?
No, we definitely appreciate being on. What you guys are doing here in the Mobile area is absolutely amazing. We are in the golden age of mountain biking, and it takes guys like you to take advantage of that. So we definitely, from the mountain bike community, appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's absolutely exciting, especially to have someone local doing the things that you guys are. Like we all listen to podcasts, especially those that are sitting on a trainer for hours a day. And it's nice to have someone local that you know that's really passionate about it. Not only building trails, but then promoting it and bringing people to speak about the passion that we all love. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming. I've been pumping this podcast forever. Like, hey, they're coming on. Trust me. They're coming.
Doesn't matter what happened last time.
That's right.
All right. Well,
Hey, thank
that'll
you.
do it for the show. And then we'll let Dale say his little. All right, close it out.
What do I say?
That was it.